Hello, my Teaser King family. Happy Sunday. Finally, football. Tough weekend on Saturday with no football. I know. Go through withdrawals. There was an alligator video yesterday, and I was kind of like surprised by it. He really doesn't know Austrian economics. There was a question that came up about him trying to do I'll send this. They asked him about gold price going up. Just a second. So sorry about that. So they asked him, like, this is the As Good as Gold Australia, and they asked him about when the gold price is going up. And as we know, it's about COMEX. Their derivatives keep the price down. He didn't answer that, and I was really shocked. If you, when they buy this or they buy that or this does this, and I was absolutely just, I couldn't believe it. So he's really a stockbroker type of bank guy. And I know, Bobby, you asked, is he an economist? He's not. I think only Egon's the economist. I think the rest of these guys, like Mark McGuire and Alligator, are not. But they know stuff about it. But Alistair is not what we thought he was. He's losing credibility because he doesn't understand free market economics. So that's what we want to listen to. Anyway, I'll be playing that later. All right. Let's get to the topic at hand, football. I'm going to go through the weather because I'm there first. KC in Baltimore. Pacheco's questionable here, but he's not questionable on covers. I know he's going to play. The rain is only 45%. It was 70 or 80%. Now it's 45 degrees, 45. So if there is rain, it's going to be a light rain, 10 miles an hour. The line I'm noticing is Baltimore minus 4.5. I don't know if they think without the rain they'll do better. I don't know how they can possibly come up with that. And then in the Lions-Frisco game, Deebo Samuel is playing. So is Laporta. We've got the over in the game. 74 degrees, 5-mile-an-hour winds. Weather's not an issue. I don't think the weather will be an issue in either game. Let's look at the line. So really, the only injury kind of is Pacheco, but He's probable on covers, so I assume he's playing. So here we've got Baltimore 4.5, 44.5. And there's only one 4. There was a bunch of 4s this morning. Now they're 4.5. And if I go into injuries here, here he's listed as questionable, but on covers he's not. Now, one interesting thing is the history of these two. Okay, so they didn't play in this year, and they didn't play in 22. In 21, Baltimore won 36-35 in September. In 20, Kansas City won 34-20 in September. In 19, Kansas City won 33-28. And in 18, Kansas City won 27-24. I won't go back any further. So I believe those were all Mahomes against Lamar games. They're all September. Well, there's one 12-9-18, but that was not a playoff game. So they've never met in the playoffs. Well, what do I pick out of this? KC 27-24, 33, 34-20, and 36-35. Now, Baltimore's had the same defense for a while. Hey, doctor. Well, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So you can see that KC doesn't really have any problems with the Baltimore defense. 36-35, granted in 21. But Harbaugh's been there, and I think they've had the defense. So why is the line going up, and what do we do about it? Do we panic? Do we go, oh, shit? Or do we just sit there and go, oh, okay. This is why I choose and pick scores. This is why I analyze the game to get to the score. They're both A teams. Baltimore 4.5 and 44.5. And basically, if we notice the over isn't going up, which I thought that would go up because the weather seems okay now. It doesn't seem like it's going to rain. There's not a lot of wind, which helps. I don't know who. Does the rain help KC or Baltimore? Because Lamar, all he's going to do is run, and KC's going to be waiting for him. I see KC blitzes 75% of the time here, and Lamar won't do anything, and they're not going to stop Mahomes. So we come up with the score 24-20. That's regardless of the rain or not, because it wasn't going to be a big rain. And basically, that's how you stud your ground. I am not compromised by what others think, as you know, which is why I do as well as I do. I am open-minded to start with. Okay, who do I think is going to win and why? Okay. They're both A teams. They're both strong defenses, 21-20s. And then I look at Mahomes against Lamar. Is Pacheco playing? I don't know. He's questionable, but not doubtful. I'm sure he plays something. And you still have Chocolate Eclair in case he doesn't play. I don't know. He looked fine at the end of last week's game. It's an ankle injury. I mean, is it a broken ankle? Is he in a boot? No, I don't know. But I do see a probable on covers. So I'm like, okay. Is Pacheco that crucial if he doesn't play or if he gets hurt? Well, look at Deebo Samuel. Got hurt the first series. He got hurt last week, and they still won. It was a little more difficult, but they adjusted. They practiced without Deebo, but Deebo is probable today. How long will he go? We don't know. But he can just, instead of getting tackled, just slide down, right? Just keep his shoulder fine. So when I make my assumptions, I'm looking at, we're betting Mahomes. We're betting the gold. Lamar has never shown up in this type of game. We will see. They did beat the Niners, which we understand, but it's a big game. And if anybody's going to choke, it's Lamar. Oh, I'm wrong. Let's see. But I got 24-20 KC. Now, I'm not getting off of that. I'm not getting off of it because it rains. Or if Pacheco all of a sudden doesn't play. This bet is based on Mahomes, right? And only Mahomes. So we're looking at Mahomes here going, he's going to win the game for us. Now, I read you the 4 games, and Baltimore didn't blow them out in any of them. And they've had a very similar defense the last few years. It would have been nice if they played this year. We get a little bit better feel of it. But Baltimore's been very good this year. Let's look at their games. They played a team like Kansas, probably Cincinnati. So if we go back, all right, well, they beat Houston, doesn't count. Miami, that doesn't count. Miami sucks. The game that's impressive is beating the Niners 33-19 with Purdy, but let's take a look at the box score there. So that's the impressive game. And they go up 16-12, and then they have a big third quarter. Lamar 23-35, 252 yards, 2 touchdowns, sacked twice. Rushing, Lamar 7 for 45, Gus Edwards, nobody really. Zay Flowers caught 9 balls for 72 yards. Some Aguilar from USC, 3 for 10. Gus Edwards 1. Likely 3 for 34. Okay. Beckham 2 for 13. The Niners, what happened in the game? Let's see. Purdy, does he get hurt in the game? 18 of 32 for 255. Throws 4 interceptions. And Darnold comes in 8 of 14. So they basically won it on the interceptions. But that's Purdy. You're not going to get the interceptions from Mahomes. Okay. McCaffrey rushed 14 times for 103 yards and a touchdown. So that'll be Pacheco. And McCaffrey caught 6 balls for 28 yards. Kittle 7 for 126. Which is Travis Kelce, and then Ayuk 6 for 113, and Deebo Samuel 4 for 47. So you're basically they threw all over them, right? McCaffrey 6, Kittle 7 for 126, which means Kelce is going to be open. Ayuk 6 for 113, and Samuel 4 for 47. Hey, Eric. So that's with Purdy, but Mahomes ain't going to give you 4 interceptions. That was the difference in the game. And KC is just played Buffalo, very similar type of team. So let's see what else Baltimore did. Miami has no defense. Jacksonville 23-7. The Rams, now there I'm going to compare it. They went into overtime. It's 31-all. They go into overtime with the Rams. And as we know, the Rams and the Niners not KC. The Rams the Niners and Miami all have similar offenses. They all run that Shanahan bullshit. In this game, Stafford's 23 of 41 for 294 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no picks. And we go to overtime 31-all. And they, I think, ran a punt back. Williams, 25 rushes, 114 yards. Receiving, Cooper Kupp, 8 for 115. And a touchdown, we got, D. Allen is 4 for 50. Robinson, 3 for 46. Pukanuka, 5 for 84. So, let's see. What did Aaron Donald do? Aaron Donald didn't even, I don't know if he even played. He had no tackles. Okay. Now, how did Baltimore go against the Rams? Lamar 24-43, 316 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. All that and go to overtime 31-all. He still runs 11 times for 70. It's a joke. Beckham, 4 balls for 97, likely 5 balls for 83. Zay Flowers, 6 for 60. And that's it. So that's your comparable game, I believe. The 31-all to the Rams. San Diego, they beat 20-10. Cincinnati, I'm not sure if Joe Burrow played. Let's see. Yeah, Joe Burrow was 11-17, 101 yards and a touchdown, and Browning came in. So maybe he got hurt in this game. Browning comes in 8-14. Yeah, I think Burrow got hurt in this game with Cincinnati winning for 10-7. Okay, yeah, I remember that. So Burrow's beating him, and then he gets hurt, and here comes Browning, who sucks. And against Cincinnati, Lamar 16-26, 264, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He runs 9 for 54, Gus Edwards 12. So against a pretty good team, Cincinnati, with Burrow's beating him. All right. So how good is this Baltimore defense? What are we worried about? I'm not, I look at the Ram game. I look at Cincinnati, had them with Burrow. They lose to Cleveland 33-31. Let's look at that game. That game was at Baltimore. Cleveland, Deshaun Watson lights them up. 20-34, 213 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Jay Ford, 17 rushes, 107 yards. They have trouble with a balanced attack. Amari Cooper, 6 for 98. Jocko, 6. So they have trouble with tight ends. And that's it. And how did Lamar do in this game? 13-23 for 223. And this is the comparable game. 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Cleveland with the strong defense, KC with the strong defense. This is probably what you're going to be getting. This game and the Ram game. So Baltimore is not this, we're going to shut you out. I mean, they have a 20 defense. So does Kansas City. This game to me is dead even. Let's see. Baltimore loses to Pitt 17-10 in October. Lost to Indy 22-19. They beat Houston. They beat Cincy with Burrow hurt 27-24. They beat Tennessee 24-16. They blow out Detroit. Yeah, nothing unusual. Beat Arizona. They blow out Seattle. Okay. And then they lose to Cleveland. Losing to Cincy, Burrow gets hurt. They beat San Diego 20-10. The Rams go to overtime 31. Jacksonville doesn't count. The big game was against the Niners. Purdy throws 4 picks. You're not getting 4 picks from Mahomes. So that's how you break it down. We'll look at KC. They had a tough year. Most importantly, they go to Buffalo and win the playoff game, and they beat Miami in the playoffs. They beat Cincy without Burrow, 25-17. They lose to Buffalo, 20-17. They lose to Green Bay, 27-19. Let's take a look at what the hell happened in that game. I remember it was like a Monday night, and they're winning the game. Mahomes, 21-33, 210 yards, a pick and an interception. Pacheco ran 18 for 110. Kelsey 4 for 81. Rice 8 for 60. Look for Rice to have a big game. Valdez Scantling will help. Chocolatey Clear. Green Bay. Love 25-36, 3 touchdowns. You're not going to get that from Lamar. He's not capable of that. Dillon ran 18, so they didn't even have whatchamacallit in the game. Their running back, Adam Jones. So Dillon ran 18 for 73. Did Mahomes? Yeah, Mahomes threw a pick, which is unusual, and then I don't know if there was other turnovers. That's the only funny game. The Philly game, they lost 21-17. They beat Miami 21-14, beat San Diego 31-17, Minnesota 27-20, the Jets's 23-20. So they scored 23 on a really good defense in the Jets. Let's see. Philly doesn't have a defense anymore. Green Bay's Buffalo. So they lose to Buffalo 2017, beat them back 27-24. Lose 20-14 to Oakland. They don't lose by a lot. And then they beat Cincy and then Miami and Buffalo. So you're really not too worried about Kansas City losing by a lot here. So then you have to understand who the hell is betting on Buffalo minus 4.5. And these are Lamar people. To me, Lamar hasn't done anything, right? He's been in the league, 5-6 years. He's won one playoff game. Now he just beat a bad Houston team for the second one. Give him the 49er game, but there was 4 interceptions, which he's not going to get today. He won't get any from Mahomes. Not in a playoff game. Mahomes won't throw you interceptions. Lamar will. So this game, I think, will come down to it'll be a tight game. I think KC wins it because if you need a touchdown at the end, Mahomes will give it to you 24-20. If it's 24-20 and you lead Lamar to drive you down, it's not going to happen. So you have to not pay attention to the line going up today. In fact, it's probably good. The betting's going on Baltimore, and, off we go. Is it fixed? We don't know. The money went on Michigan against Alabama. They pushed it up to 2.5, and Alabama really should have won. It was 20-20 at the end. So we were fine in the teaser, but they were all wrong. It's just Michigan got lucky in the overtime. So as far as that, just because the line moves doesn't mean it's, oh my God, Baltimore's going to win. I don't know why you wouldn't bet Mahomes here. And again, that's a straight bet. So I see 4.5. Let's see if it's moved to 5. No, it's still 4.5. There's still a 4. So from that standpoint, a little bit of money, but why would you lay 4.5? 3, I could see maybe taking Baltimore. Do you like Baltimore because it's not going to rain? I mean, the chance of rain is down to 40%. This I'm not sure. Let's go take a look at the weather one more time. Well, Pacheco, like I said, he's questionable here, but he's not there. 45%. It's 45 degrees with 45% chance of rain and 10-mile-an-hour winds. Hey, Nick. Yeah, Purdy's good. He'll have a tough time beating Mahomes, but that'll be a real good game. Your thoughts on the line going up to 4.5 on Baltimore? I'm pretty sure Pacheco's playing. Like I said, on covers, he's probable. On these others, he's questionable. The Niners, 74 degrees and sunny and 5-mile-an-hour winds. It'll be fine. We'll see Goff choke here. Purdy's handled the come from behind win against Green Bay is good. Again, I like this game over, and I like Kansas City getting 10, or even better at 10.5. Met Pacheco in the summer at Rutgers. He's a super tough guy. He'll play. Yeah, I mean, I think he will. I mean, this is a championship game. I mean, Deebo Samuel, I'm sure, is not 100%. He's playing. What I hope is he just catches the ball and runs out of bounds or goes down so he doesn't re-injure the shoulder. But the Lions can't cover anybody anyway. Even if they use him as a distraction where he's out there, so their top man's on him, and then Ayuk's wide open and Kittle's wide open. I do love the over in the game because I think Detroit scores because they're balanced. Goff will hit enough with St. Brown and that kid from Alabama, the running back, and the other running back, Montgomery from Iowa State. I think it's a balanced attack, gets you 20 points, but their defense is so bad, I think Frisco just lights them up. And I think Frisco is a little scared and will score and score and score. So I see a big score in this game, especially the weather's fine. Baltimore, KC, I think it comes down to the end. I think it'll be a close game. There's no way Baltimore blows them out. I don't see KC blowing them out. I think I'm right around that 24-20, I think is what you get. Both teams have outstanding defenses. KC's got a really strong defense, and you got to love the defensive coordinator. And whatchamacallit? I can see the guy. Again, I see him, but I can't. Anyway, he'll blitz them a lot, and I'm sure he just saw Josh Allen. This is Josh Allen part 2. You just beat Josh Allen in Buffalo, so it's not like, they can't win on the road. And the biggest thing I have with that is that they win the Super Bowl is not in Kansas City. So he's won 2 Super Bowls. He's won 2 road games. Hello. These analysts are so fucking stupid. This Tony Romo and Jim Nance is the worst. He's never won a playoff game on the road, except for the 2 Super Bowls that he won. Shake my head. This is like Oklahoma, Texas, Oregon, Washington, Michigan, Ohio State. You don't really analyze it that much. You go, yeah, they're both strong teams. Take the points. And we've won every time doing that. The Michigan, Alabama, Oklahoma, Texas, Oregon, Washington twice, Michigan, Ohio State. Anytime you get it, it's there. And it's because the other team is the dog, and you've got a very live dog. And here we've got Mahomes. What else do you want? You got Mahomes in 10, now 10.5 points. What else can you ask for? You can't. I mean, it's like getting Montana in 10.5. You'd bet the farm on it. So you can't worry that the line goes to 4.5. That's algorithm betting, them trying to come out with some scientific formula that says, yeah, Baltimore is 6 points better or whatever. So I'm going to lay 4.5. These guys are idiots. They don't know what they're doing from that standpoint. Hey, Greg and John. Nick, playing my 10-pointers today. Chiefs in 14, Chiefs under 54, Niners over 41. Yeah. The Chiefs under 54. Yeah, I mean, they're both strong defensive. Should be fine because KC really kind of plays very smart ball. They kind of wait till the play clock goes down. He kind of runs it, and he wants long drives to rest the defense. So they're a very smart team that takes long drives, takes all the time off the clock, and methodically beats you. And at the end, in the fourth quarter, if they got the lead like they did with Buffalo, they'll just kill you. They'll just first down, 3 minutes, let's run a few, and we need a third down pass, or Mahomes needs to run. And if they're in the lead, they'll win because they just know how to milk the clock. So they should keep the game lower scoring, I would think. 2 strong defenses. I don't think everybody thinks Lamar is going to play like he did against Houston, which was 10-10 at halftime. He's going to have a serious problem against KC because he can't throw the ball. So that's where the problem comes. Line movement is also the books just balancing action as well. If they get the other side, in other words, if it went from 3.5 to 4, I don't know about that. I don't think I want to uh, give 3.5 and get 4.5. There was a Super Bowl, Pittsburgh and Dallas, Super Bowl 10, I think. And Pittsburgh won 21-17. That was the first Super Bowl they played. And the line started at 3 or 3.5 and went to 4.5. And the books middled themselves because Pitt won by 4. And that was not the number they wanted to see. So they lost all the 3.5s and won all the, or they lost all the 4.5s and lost all the 3.5s. So the bookies shouldn't really be doing that. They should just leave the 4 alone so they don't get trapped. Are they getting 4.5s? We'll see if the line, it's what, game's at 3, it's noon. So we'll see if it jumps back. The big money comes in and makes it lower. We'll see. But in my mind, I got Kansas City in 10. I'm happy with that bet. I locked it. And again, Detroit Frisco over. I love that one. I had almost told you to Nick to go KC and then take Frisco in 3 and Frisco over. I think Frisco wins. I think Detroit's defense, Debo Samuel is playing. I think that's a not a better one, but a good one. But your KC under should be good also. I might have played a 4-teamer and played KC in the under and Frisco in the over there. I don't know. Detroit, I feel is going to really have a hard time tonight. They're at Frisco on the grass, 75 degrees, and they don't have the home field advantage. And I think that's what they've been living on. And 3 of their losses were on the road. They got killed by the Bears and Baltimore, and then they played that Dallas game, which still pisses me off because everybody's still bitching about, well, he called the wrong number. Yeah, but he told Dallas the number. Again, it doesn't matter. If he would have told Dallas 68, then they would have covered 68, but he told them 70. So why would I cover 68 when the refs are saying that 70 is eligible? So don't say they would have won, and you can't blame the refs because the Lions number 68 should have made sure that he was eligible. And he didn't. He fucked up. You want to blame the refs? The refs just said 70 is eligible, and Dallas covered 70. So it's not that hard. The refs didn't screw them. The Lions screwed themselves because they could have had the whole team go out there, and it's the refs going to tell them what number is eligible. I mean, he's going to go into their huddle. Okay, number 70, number 62. So it really doesn't matter. The refs didn't screw anything up. The Lions fucked themselves by confusing the ref and not listening to the PA where they should have said, no, it's not 70, it's 68. That's who we want eligible. So anyway, just incredible. So we got 3:00 KC Baltimore, A against A. KC's been an under team. They don't score that much, but lately you've got 26 against a terrible Miami defense. And then you've got a 27 against a 20 Buffalo defense. And I look for the same score as they did last week, 24-20, 27-20. Should be in the 20s. And I just would be shocked. Again, the reason they beat the Niners was the 4 interceptions by Purdy. Probably blitzed. I think, they had the left tackle went out. That's what it was. So the all-pro left tackle for the Niners gets hurt, and Clowney keeps sacking Purdy. Well, the left tackle for KC is healthy. Clowney doesn't play that much, so we will see. Is Clowney going to get to Mahomes like that? But their offensive line's intact pretty much. There was one guy hurt who's, I guess, good, but I don't know if he's just got hurt or he's been hurt the whole time. But KC's, their offensive line protected him well last week. I don't think he got sacked against Buffalo. So that was the key. They were putting a lot of pressure on Purdy. That's why they scored so much. I don't see that today. with Mahomes. I mean, he's far better at seeing it and moving around from it, but their line's intact. So that was really the key, was the left tackle, the All-Pro from Oklahoma, I can't remember his name, got hurt in the game. And they were able to sack Purdy every play. I remember that. So you don't have that with KC here. So Mahomes should have a big day. Anyway, so that's what we have. So 24-20 KC sounds about right. Two good defenses. Lamar, this is not Lamar's game here. He needs Detroit. He needs a weak defense to really shine. And again, he beat Houston 34-10. Well, that ain't going to happen. And that was his first game. And then the Niners came back against Green Bay. We don't even care if they win here. We're betting the over. That's why I like the over. Detroit is an over team. They score a lot. They were actually at 27-27. So they scored 27 a game and give up 27. So that's really where they're at. And so therefore they should score on the Niners, and the Niners will score on them. So that's what we want. It should be by halftime, we'll probably be in the upper teens. It'll probably be 17-14 or something. So it'll be a 31 by half, and we only need 44. And then boom, boom, third quarter, we're over. And then it's really a big score at the end. So this is a game where the Niners keep scoring because it's a championship game, and you're not going to let up. KC Baltimore, I just think both teams. KC's got an excellent defense. They'll stop Mahomes. Spagnuolo, that's the defensive coordinator. So Spagnuolo, I mean, he's seen Lamar before. He's seen running quarterbacks before. He'll handle it. They've got speed in the secondary to handle Lamar. So look for this to be a very close game. TK said it again, 24-24, class in session. Yeah, I don't see why not. If you really study the teams, they got good defenses, so you're not going to see a 40-point game unless you got a lot of turnovers or punt returns. In a normal game, KC methodically, Mahomes does Mahomes, right? Oh, I need 8. I throw a 9-yard pass. Oh, Kelsey's open. Occasionally he hits Kelsey wide open for touchdowns. Otherwise, he knows the defense. He knows where he's going with the ball. That's a huge advantage because Lamar doesn't. Lamar goes back, and then he's looking at his first read. He's looking at his second read. He has no idea. And that'll be the key to it. I do like the offensive coordinator, Baltimore, the guy from Georgia, Monk. Gives him a little bit, but most of the Baltimore games have been close. They were losing to Burrow when Burrow got hurt in the game. I remember that. So Burrow put him up 10-7, and then the guy hit Burrow and hurt his wrist. So watch Burrow revenge that next year. But that's so – no, what are they going to do against Mahomes? I mean, they're not going to stop him. Their defense is okay, but then I go to the Ram game, 31-31 overtime. Well, we'll take that because we got 10 points. So we're fine with that. And that was it. I mean, otherwise, they blew out Seattle. All right, don't have a great defense. But otherwise, they didn't really blow anybody out but Frisco. And Pitt, they lost to Pitt twice with a good defense. So they're going to struggle against Kansas City for sure. So that's where we're at, 24-20 KC. Once I said it, it's set, right? I had 23-20 KC against Buffalo. I'm sure everybody thought Buffalo would win at home because Mahomes has never won on the road except for the 2 Super Bowls he won. And they won 27-24. So this game will be close. We'll be in the fourth quarter. It'll be a close game. And we got 10 points. And that's the point of the bet. We don't know who's going to win. You cannot say Mahomes can't go to Baltimore and win. He just went to Buffalo and won. You can't say that. You can't be impressed. Lamar has never won a game of this magnitude. Never in college, never in the pros. Is he going to start now? Maybe he does, but I got to go by what I see, and he hasn't. He's not a good quarterback. He runs too much, but we just saw Josh Allen, so we can handle Lamar. I'm sure they'll Lamar a lot more. Probably have more safeties in the game for the speed, and I hope they don't spy Lamar. I hope they blitz him. You don't want to spy Lamar because the guy's standing there and Lamar can duke him. But if you just blitz, then Lamar can't go anywhere. He's not started. And you saw Houston kind of get him a few times last week. So that's where we're at. Frisco should have an easy time with the Lions. Probably be close, and they probably pull away, get some turnovers. But I think the Niners just play Niner ball. Samuel's playing, so I just don't. I think McCaffrey has a big day. Purdy has a big day. Kittle has a big day. It's a championship game at home, and they've been there. And they were in the Super Bowl a couple years ago against Kansas City. The only reason they didn't beat Philly is because Purdy gets hurt last year. So that's what I have there. 37-24 Frisco, 24-20 Kansas City. And that's what I think. I'm a little reluctant to get into economics yet, in case there's more football questions. But that's how you break the team down. In betting, you want to bet the defense, and you want to bet the star quarterback. We got them both with KC, and we kind of got the star quarterback with Frisco. He's not Mahomes, but it's okay. But they have the better defense. So we're taking Frisco because of their defense. And KC Baltimore is pretty even. We'll take Mahomes. That's where Mahomes will make the difference. And they've been there every year. Not a big deal. Even against a good Cincinnati team, they only when Cincinnati went to the Super Bowl, I think they lost by 3. And then last year they beat Cincinnati and Burrow. So they've been in these big games. Not a big deal for them. Baltimore has not. So that comes into a factor too. You start pressing, you start choking. And I don't think you're going to get the interceptions from Mahomes like you did in the Frisco game. But that was the left tackle being hurt. That's why Baltimore blew him out. So you got to dig inside. You got to look. You can't just look at the score and go, oh, they killed Frisco. Yeah, but the tackle got hurt. And okay, and they sacked him. The quarterback had no chance. Okay, that's not the case today. So that's it. And then we got 2 weeks to Super Bowl. So we'll break that down. KC Frisco will be the best. Baltimore Frisco. I'm not into this bullshit, the color of the logo. Come on. That's ridiculous. One guy said, Baltimore, he's got inside information on that. Give me a break. What inside information can you have? Mahomes is just going to lay down so Baltimore can win. Are you kidding me? The league wants Lamar to win. The league wants Mahomes to win. Are you kidding? And get Kelsey and the girlfriend on TV. So if anybody, the league wants Kansas City. And then the Niners are just the better team. So anything else on the games today? Let me know. Again, the way you analyze is you really want to bet the defense. And when the games are – so that's why you go back and you rank the teams, right? Baltimore's an A, Frisco's an A, Kansas City's an A. And when 2 A teams meet, you bet the dog. So you've got to analyze the team to know what they are. So when I look at this, KC's an A team. They score probably 24, and they give up roughly 21 the last 7 games. It's a little bit lower for the whole year. So they have an excellent defense. And Baltimore is the same. They score about 27 and give up 19 the last 7 games, but 17 the whole year. So you got 2 strong defenses. And with Mahomes, they're getting it together at the right time. So they're a 24-27 offense. So basically, you understand their A teams. You understand Mahomes. You got Peace healthy. Kelsey's healthy. Looks like Pacheco's healthy. Defense is very strong. They're healthy. So you look at everything, and then you determine, well, I can't pick the winner. I can't go against Mahomes. Like, he's not going to show up. If anybody doesn't show up, it'll be Lamar. Look for KC, Spagnuolo to put pressure on him. Good luck putting pressure on Mahomes. So you look at all the history. KC's been there every year. Baltimore hasn't. And then you make your pick. The Niners and Detroit. Detroit's just how they're there is just because they had such a weak schedule. And now they're outdoors, and then they won because they got Tampa instead of going to Dallas, and they won because they were at home. Now they're on the road. So it's like a college football team that plays all their games at home the first 6-7 weeks. Then they have to go on the road, and then they show what they're really like. So Detroit, not a good road team at all, and played a weak schedule. The tough teams they played, they lost to Baltimore, Dallas, and the Bears, apparently, and Green Bay. And then they've just played a bunch of nobodies. So that's what you've got to look at that. Until they go to Frisco and win, they can't. And then Frisco is just the better team all around. McCaffrey will keep you balanced, and they're not going to stop McCaffrey. So look for that. So you just got to play it like that. The Niners are much the better team here. And that's what you have. So that's how you pick it. You're looking, the Lions have a weak defense. And that's what you're looking at. Detroit's an over team. Frisco's the A team. Frisco wins, high scoring game. So that's how you break it down. You look at everything. And that's how you would break down basketball or baseball. I break down baseball by the ERAs of the pitchers. If I got Verlander or Scherzer going, there's another kid, you'd bet the pitcher or the under if they're playing another good pitcher. It's, again, the strength. You're looking for the difference maker. If I bet baseball in the 60s, I would have bet under on Koufax every fucking game, and we would never work again. But that's what you're looking at. You're always looking for that gold, the piece of gold. All right, so I think we've covered it. We'll take a look again. I want to get into Alligator yesterday. I'm kind of disappointed in him.
No living being should ever eat processed food for every single meal of their life.
All right, so he's on As Good as Gold Australia with the two Aussie guys. And it's Alligator. Let me watch him. And I did not like what I was seeing. So I'm going to go to the beginning. And they ask him about the gold price. When will the gold price go up? And his answer mystifies me that he doesn't know what he's talking about, which is very confusing. So let me go into a couple minutes of this.
Worried as well as I am. But Darryl, it's far away.
Okay, Alistair, over the last 12 months, there's been, I think, a common question. And it's been, when is the price of gold going to go up? It's going up all the time. It's broken records. Just recently, it was at its all-time high, and it's sitting pretty close to that right now. So it's but the expectation of so many people is that gold should be soaring right now. It should be double, triple, quadruple the price that it is right now. And we all know, of course, that it isn't so much gold going up, but it's the devaluation of the currency, so the valuation of the currency going down. Most people don't understand this, but but it still represents gold heading north. So price-wise, this is a common question that's been raised. And
So listen to his answer. It's confusing.
I must admit that so many of the experts at the moment on gold and silver are talking about this being a very big year. Naomi Prinz just recently quoted gold or suggested gold could be at double the figures that it is right now, increased by 100%. So
20,000.
There is an expectation out there. But I believe really what's happening is that our clients and so many people out there are looking at all of this money that's being printed by the US and saying, how long can they continue to do this? How long can the debt level continue to increase and be at record highs? How long can they keep doing this and continue to pay the interest on this massive debt that they've accumulated at the moment? It's all about confidence. How long can the confidence be retained? And what's going to happen? What is it going to take to lose that confidence that seemingly is still...
Okay, so he's asking two different questions, but he doesn't realize it. Confidence is confidence in the dollar. When you don't have confidence in this, there's no demand, it's zero. That's got nothing to do with gold. They keep with the misunderstanding that the only way gold can go up, it really doesn't go up. It's only based on the dollar devaluing. Well, the dollar's devalued 99%. So gold can only go up 1 more percent. Is this what he's saying? So he doesn't understand his question. This is not about confidence. This is not about when the dollar goes down, gold goes up. Gold is an asset. So let's break this down. Gold is an asset. Same as Mahomes. This is an asset. What makes this go up? Demand. There's only 50 of them. So what makes this card go up? Demand for it, right? I want it. He just won another Super Bowl. It's a 50 count. I want it. All right. So if 20 people want it and there's only 50, and when 50 are owned, the only way it goes up is the 20 people bid it up. But this has nothing to do with the dollar going down, but this is an asset. This is an asset just as gold is, just as a Picasso, just as any other, just like a Rolex. So let's say this is a Rolex. It doesn't go up because the dollar goes down. It goes up because of demand. That's free market economics, Austrian economics. Prices are set by the demand for the object. If everybody wants this, so let's say this is $100 a bottle, but it's a 12-year-old, it's a specialty. If this goes up, if people go to the grocery store and it's sold out, and it keeps getting sold out, they raise the price. They go, shit, we're at 100 and everybody wants it. We can go to 150. So you get to 150 on it. Okay. If the demand is there, you can raise the price, regardless of what the dollar is doing. So the this is not affected by the dollar. This is an asset. So please explain why gold is affected by the dollar and only goes up it never goes up. Only when the dollar goes down does the value go up. Please explain that to me, because that makes no sense to me. Gold is an asset like Rolex, okay? Like the Mahomes card. It goes up based on demand, not based on the dollar going down. Now, in their warped thinking, everything then would go up only because the dollar goes down in value. Now, in a sense, that's what inflation is. The dollar losing value, so it takes more dollars to buy. However, if there's demand, if 100 people want a 50 count Mahomes card, the price is going to go up based on demand. So they're missing totally the second part of the equation. Just because the dollar goes down does not mean this goes up. If there's no demand for it, this won't go up. This only goes up because of demand for the card. Gold only goes up because of demand for gold. It does not matter what the dollar does for gold to go up or down. It's the demand. I want gold, the price goes up. You've got it price fixed by COMEX, which they're totally missing. So gold's sitting there at 2,000. Let's say I went to and I'm going to show you. I went to the gold store yesterday, doing my homework for class, and I bought a quarter ounce, $550 American, and it's purely based on demand. It's got nothing to do. Okay, they look at spot and they divide it out. Okay, fine, but. And I got a story on spot to tell you from the store. Let me finish this. And so what Alligator and this guy and Mark McGuire all miss, it's all based on demand. If gold is demanded, the price of gold goes up. What they're missing is, yes, an ounce of gold's an ounce of gold. That never changes. However, there is a value on gold. They don't think there's a value on gold. There's a value on everything. There's a value on the Mahomes card. There's a value on the Rolex. Why isn't there a value on gold? It's money. It's an asset. So if the demand for the gold goes up, the price goes up in a free market. However, when you have COMEX blocking the free market, then that's what everybody's asking. When does COMEX get out of the way and we get a physical price? Yet he can't answer it and Alligator can't answer it. So let's look at Alligator's answer.
Still there at the moment. Your thoughts?
I think in terms of undermining confidence, it's the interest rate outlook, which is probably
the fuck does that
the most
mean?
important marker.
It's not.
Virtually everybody expects interest rates to ease. Now, the reason they do
No,
that
not
is
with
that
inflation.
Their experience basically is of really sort of post Lehman crisis, if you like.
What kind of answer is this? He's asking him when the price of gold will go up. What the fuck's he talking about interest rates for? What does that have to do with the price of gold? What is he doing? He sounds like he's a Keynesian. He sounds like a liberal where he won't answer the question, what color is the sky? Well, it's 3:30 now and, interest rates are high. Yeah, but what color is the sky? I mean, it's blue. Boom. Get right to it. Why are you talking about interest rates? What the fuck does that have to do with the price? And interest rates are high because of the inflation, because you have increased the money supply, that the money is worthless. So you have to charge a higher interest rate. That's your answer, but what does that have to do with the price of gold?
The central banks managed to suppress interest rates, particularly along the yield curve.
No.
By doing QE, in effect, rigging the market by pushing bond prices to ridiculously high levels. People think that we can return towards, not necessarily to those conditions, but towards those conditions. They think that the inflation dragon is slain.
He doesn't even know what inflation is. What kind of answer is this? What does this have to do with the price of gold? He's off on a tangent about God knows what. What the fuck is he talking about? This is insane. He's talking about interest. First of all, the Fed doesn't control interest rates for houses and cars. The banks do. Because of inflation, they have to charge more if they even want to lend money out because they're getting inflated dollars back. What the fuck is he talking about?
But there is a contrary argument, and that is that the massive expansion of central bank credit, we're talking about base money, really. It's not just the currency, but also bank reserves and so on and so forth. That massive expansion hasn't yet fully worked through the system into prices. On top of that, we got the problem.
What the fuck is he talking about? What's so on and so forth? What does that mean? Do I ever use so on and so forth? So the money hasn't gone through the system. Is he insane? Of course it has. Why do you think all the prices are up? Oh my, this guy's
consumer
losing.
price index, which everybody follows slavishly, a 0.1% variation from expectations, pushes the market strongly one way or the other, which is completely ridiculous. The monetary inflation in the past has not yet been fully reflected in the CPI, and the CPI itself is a very subjective thing. And
all right, the CPI should never be used to measure inflation. All the prices haven't gone through because they don't use all the prices. They exclude many prices. All the food and energy are not in the CPI. The CPI is not how you measure inflation, as I said. The market controls prices. It's got nothing to do with the increase in money supply. What is he talking about?
As we've seen with John Williams, he reckons the rate of inflation is over 10% measured by the CPI.
20%.
If you go back to the method,
and nobody uses CPI because it's not a good measure.
We used back in 1980 or 82. It just shows we just don't actually know what the hell's going on in that sense. But
money supply, it's easy.
The problem with the Houthis disrupting shipping going through the Red Sea and Suez Canal has actually alerted a lot of people to the sort of problems that we faced when Russia was sanctioned, or following post-COVID. The disruption to supply chains and all the rest of it. And
what is he talking about? What does that have to do with the gold price? He still hasn't answered the question. And supply chain has nothing to do with inflation. Inflation's simply printing the money. What does supply chain have to do? What he's talking about is prices, is not inflation. So he's saying, well, the supply chain is slow because the Houthis are blowing up ships in the little Strait of Hormuz, and the ships have to go longer around Africa, which is taking more time and money, so that raises the price. Fine. That's why prices go up. That has nothing to do with inflation. If you printed $10 trillion and you still have 10 trillion out there, that's your inflation. It's got nothing to do with supply chain. It's got nothing to do with prices. What the fuck's he talking about? All it is the dollar's worth less, and it's still worth less. Inflation doesn't get better. It is what it is. You printed 10 trillion, that's inflation. That's what it is. What the fuck's he talking about? Oh my God. See, he's sounding very Keynesian now.
Could it be that the Iranians will block Hormuz? And you've got all these sort of open questions hanging in the air, yet to be answered. I think it means that this idea that we can sort of quietly drift back to lower interest rates is actually not a done deal at all. And I would argue that with the debt trap which the American government is in, in this fiscal year, in the run-up to the presidential election, I don't think we should be surprised to see a budget deficit exceeding $3 trillion.
Right.
And the thing that's worrying about that is that almost half of that, is interest cost. So this is actually the definition of debt trap. They can't cut spending, yet the financing costs for issuing bonds to close that deficit is just rising and rising and rising out of control. So now imagine that if the hopium in the markets that we get lower interest rates doesn't actually come about, and instead they tend to drift higher, what's that going to do to government finances? The debt trap basically gets sprung even tighter. On top of that, we have the banking system, and people just don't understand this. The banking system is risk averse. And the reason that the US government can fund itself at the moment is basically, it's all being done in very, very short-term funding, because the banks are no longer extending credit to businesses. You just go around America, go around Europe. I guess it's similar in Australia.
Okay, so again, he's wrong. The banks print money. That's how they get money. They print it. As far as loaning, the banks loan if you have good credit. They just don't want to loan to people with bad credit. So again, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I don't know did they get to him and he doesn't know what he's saying all of a sudden? But what he's answering is just bullshit. He's lost his mind. Again, I don't know why he's talking interest rates and debt trap. The question is, when's the gold price going up? Why can't he answer that?
Local businesses are struggling. And this, I mean,
what does that have to do with gold?
Under these circumstances, a business wants to replace its cash flow with a facility at the bank, and they go along to the bank, and the bank says no. So, this is the reality of the situation. But what it means as far as the US government is concerned is that there is this temporary glut of very, very short-term money, which is escaping, or credit rather, which is escaping, if you like, from the riskier lending which banks perceive, because as far as they can see that the economy is in dire straits. They don't want to be exposed to that. They don't have sufficient capital to take that sort of exposure. So what do? They withdraw lending facilities from the economy and offer it through the T-bill market on a short-term basis to the government. Now, there comes a point where this comes to an end. And incidentally, it has also been boosted by the money funds, which were spurned by the banks because the banks didn't want to pay high deposit rates, and also Basel III regulations made it, if you like, inefficient to take in these large deposits. So the Fed opened its window, and the reverse repo market swelled.
What is he talking about? What does this have to do with the price of gold going up? He's off on some tangent. I couldn't believe when I heard the answer to this question. He's all over the place. Straits of Hormuz and the banks lending money and the companies this. What does that have to do with gold? Gold's an asset. If there's demand for gold because the paper dollar's going out, then the gold price goes up. If COMEX goes away, his answer should be COMEX is blocking it. When they get blown up by the BRICS gold, that's when it goes. But he doesn't say anything like that. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Around about 2.5 trillion. It's now around about 600-700 billion. So that has collapsed. Where has it gone? It's gone into treasuries, which are yielding 5.4%. It's quite simple. So you've got this temporary moment where everything seems calm, because we don't seem to have funding problems. We have, interest rate outlook. Everybody expects interest rates to go lower. So what's not to like? And the S&P is hitting new highs. This is an extraordinary situation. But
it's all fixed. This guy could be the dumbest guy I've ever listened to now. I thought he knew what was going on. This answer, well, it's all fixed. They're printing money, putting it in the stock market, keeping it up, so confidence looks good. It's not hard to understand what's going on, and this guy's like in fantasy land.
Look at how expensive equities are relative to bonds. I mean, the yield, this gap in terms of yield valuation is as high as it's ever been. In other words, we are in an equity bubble. Admittedly, in America,
really? Yeah, we didn't know that.
If you like, exaggerated by about 5 or 6 tech stocks. But that is a bubble which is still there. And that is going to pop. So really,
brilliant.
What I can see is that this sort of rather benign situation we have at the moment, where worries have just disappeared, and the brokers, analysts are all saying, we think the stocks are going to go up or whatever. It's all benign stuff.
It's all a Ponzi
but
scheme.
It's going to come crashing to an end, I think, in the not too distant future.
God.
I don't know when. We never know when. I mean, that's
second quarter.
That is our lived experience eventually. But I would guess that these problems are now mounting to the sort of situation where we're likely to have quite a nasty crisis, rather than let's say an orderly bear market. Let's put it that way. So, getting back to the situation on gold,
finally,
the general public feels no need to hold gold. I mean, they don't understand it anyway. They don't understand the difference between legal money, which is gold, and credit, which is actually everything.
That's bullshit. The general public knows to hold gold. It just doesn't register. I bought gold yesterday. It's not going to register because of COMEX. Now let's hear if he says COMEX in his answer. He doesn't. So we are buying gold. I know a lot more people. I go to the gold store. The guy, yeah, we're selling gold. Somebody came in and bought all the gold. It is being bought, but the ounces we buy doesn't make a difference. But it doesn't matter because it's not a supply demand because of COMEX, which is keeping the price down because they print derivatives. Is this guy this fucking clueless?
Credit in our economy, and it is not anchored to gold. I think that I'd make two comments which people who are sort of complacent over this should hoist on board. And that is that central banks around the world already recognize this risk. That is why they're dumping dollars in return for gold bullion. They can't get enough of it, incidentally.
So why is the price going up, Heckle and
If
Jekyll?
iron scrap supplies were even larger, they would absorb that as well. And it's fascinating. If you look at the People's Bank in China, they've been accumulating gold. Now everybody says, "Oh well, they're topping up their gold." I mean, there's a load of rubbish because it's so much gold off balance sheet that the amount they're taking is actually pretty immaterial. But when you look at it in the context of them winding down their dollar position, obviously what they're doing is they're liquidating dollars for gold. And this is just on the margin.
So why isn't the gold price going
And
up?
I suspect that we're going to see more pressure like that. And I think...
So he says there's no demand for gold. That's why the price isn't going up. And then he says the central banks are all buying gold. Okay, so why isn't that making the price go up? Because they're buying tons. I buy ounces. This guy's out of his mind.
In 2024, we're going to begin to understand a little bit more why the central banks are doing this.
We know why, because of the heavy inflation.
Is that everybody is so underexposed to gold. There's roughly $150 trillion equivalent of portfolio investment around the world. That's bonds and equities. And
money in the banks.
The situation hasn't been helped insofar as we're talking about regulated investments, but of course gold is not a regulated investment. So that a portfolio manager doesn't actually regard gold.
No, what he meant to say is there's no commissions in gold. Right? So if I'm a broker on Wall Street and you call me, I got $100,000, I don't get commission if I tell you to buy gold coins. So I'm going to put you in stocks and bonds. That's what he should have said, but he doesn't understand.
Something he should have in his portfolio, because his compliance officer turns around and says, "What are you doing? This is not a regulated
There's no
investment."
commission.
What it means is that
Bubblehead.
from the days when I was a stockbroker in the 70s.
Yeah, and you're still a stockbroker, not an economist.
It was standard practice to have a portfolio exposure to gold mines and associated investments of anything between 10% and perhaps 15%. We're now in a situation where of that $150 trillion, less than 1% is in gold.
Right.
Now, just imagine. So what's 1% worth? Well, 1%, if they shifted just 1% towards where the historical hedge against credit prices would be, just 1% is 23,300 tons current prices.
What's the point of that? So if I go buy ounces and Bobby buys ounces and Luke buys ounces, that doesn't register there. I don't have any money in portfolio. I got it all in gold. What's the point of that? Plus, with the inflated, the dollar value goes down because it's worthless. So $23 trillion or whatever, 1%. But as you keep inflating the money, that goes up. So the 1% doesn't make any sense.
And where's that going to come from?
Yes, we only dig up 3,000 ton per year.
Yeah, exactly. So you can see, I think, that in this argument as to is it gold going up or the dollar going down or whatever,
Gold
you've
going
actually got
up.
a combination of things here. Because everybody is so underweight in real money, when the jaw hits the fan, you can see that the effect, if you like, of running the cover into physical gold, and now whether it's people suddenly waking up, it's more likely actually to be the mainstream, sort of foreign holders of currencies thinking, well, where do I go with this overexposure to a currency? Do I go into another currency? The answer is probably not.
It's definitely not, because they're not. None of them are worth anything.
And is that
Come on, alligator?
So I think the gold currency relationship could actually switch very, very sharply this year. But I think those are the two things I would say about the outlook for gold. I mean, we're really looking, as you rightly said, Daryl, we're looking at the outlook for credit, the value of credit, fiat currencies at the top of that credit. But also, everybody is so short of the real stuff that the slightest disturbance in the credit markets could lead to an absolute avalanche of getting out of credit, principally by foreigners initially. It's always the foreigners who lead the crisis. And I remember this from the sterling crises we had in the 1970s, which incidentally, in the context of a government debt trap, drove not only interest rates up, but also bond yields.
So he doesn't mention COMEX is keeping the price down. Why not? Is he that stupid? That's the most obvious, is COMEX keeps the price down. Doesn't mention it. Gold has nothing to do with the dollar. It's an asset. It's just like a Rolex or Picasso. Demand makes the price go up. It is a price. It's got nothing to do with the dollar going down, because every product goes up in cost because the dollar goes down, because you need more dollars to get back where you were. So $100 is now worth 10. So now I need, to get to 100, I need 1,000. All right, that's across the board. That's my Canadian Club. That's my Mahomes card. Not just gold. Gold's another asset like a Rolex. It takes more dollars to buy it, but the price is going up because of demand of people wanting it. But we have COMEX blocking it. Where does he say that? So I believe I commented. So there's another thing where they're having this big meeting. I think I commented on it, but I can't find it. Then he says they're having this big show or whatever with him and Lamette Zhang and the cowboy guy that we hate. And here's my answer for that. So what I'm saying is, I'm surprised you didn't add me to your Austrian economist show. Very disappointing. The guests you have are not even economists. Holter and Zhang are clueless. Laugh out loud. So again, you're not inviting me to this thing, and the people you're inviting, Lynette Zing's an idiot, and the cowboy doesn't know what he's talking about. And now I'm beginning to wonder about alligator. There was another thing. Oh, here it is. So here's the other reply I do. Alistair goes far beyond any other podcast analyst in the depth and breadth of his report. Well, wait a minute. I go way past him, and he's not answering us. So my answer is COMEX keeps the gold price down, nothing else. Right? COMEX keeps the gold price down, not anything else. That's what I'm saying. That's my response to this bullshit, right? So I say COMEX keeps the price down, and then some guy responds, more price controlled by a private legal society. Are y'all expecting a legal society that wants to maintain control over price to allow a way out of their control with a proper price of gold or any other commodities? And I'm like, yes, BRICS will break the gold price and soon the USD will be worthless. Shake my head. So he's thinking, well, it's price controlled. Why would it not be price controlled? And that's the point. The price, they don't have if BRICS wants and Russia want the price to go up, the private legal society, COMEX, won't have a say. COMEX gets blown up. Anyway, that was my answer. So I was very disappointed in Alligator not understanding COMEX is controlling the prices. So when the questions asked to him, why are the gold prices not going up? He doesn't answer COMEX. He comes with this long-winded 10-minute fucking response about, well, yeah, what color is the sky? Well, let's look at interest rates, and then we'll see how many times people mow their lawns, and da-da-da-da-da. And well, at the end of the day, people got to water the grass more. This is like, what a fucking idiot. This guy's response, he doesn't understand BRICS. Why would it? Because BRICS wants a higher price. This guy obviously doesn't understand what BRICS is. So yeah, it works that they want to keep the price down because they want the dollar monopoly to go on with the banks and Wall Street, but they've blown it up. It can't stay. That's what this guy doesn't understand, which most people don't understand. They see it price fixed, or maybe they know JP Morgan keeps the price down and COMEX. I don't know, but it's at the end of the day, how long can they keep the price down? Right? You can't artificially keep the price down forever. That's the point. BRICS wants a higher price. You've got Russia sanctioned. You've got China. So, of course, they want a higher price. So that's what's happening. That's basically what the point is. So, again, this is the problem with most people here. They don't think the price goes up. They don't know why, or maybe they think COMEX keeps the price down, so it'll never go. So why should I buy gold? Okay, stay in paper. It's worthless. It's worth zero. The rest of the world doesn't want it, but it's kind of trapped. And if you want different currency, you have to buy the dollar to get your new currency. Swiss buying euros, you need the dollar to sell your Swiss, to buy the dollar, to buy the euro. And they're all fed up with it. So here comes Russia and China. And now you got BRICS and you got all these, you got Russia and China. You just fought Russia over this and Russia beat your brains in. So at what point how do you think you're going to stop Russia from coming out with a gold-backed currency? How long are you going to keep BRICS from coming out with a gold-backed currency? China their economy is in a shambles because of their housing market, because it was all fake. So they need their yuan backed by gold. And BRICS is going to need it because all the countries do not want this US dollar in the middle. Now, how much of that theory is true and how much is theory that will never be true? We believe that the truth is the theory. That Russia, China do want gold to go up. They are wanting gold for oil, and that they don't want, they need a higher gold price to do this with. So they're going to make the gold price go up. Now, in reality, is that what's really going to happen? Absolutely. That's the question that everybody wants answered. And absolutely, does it make sense? And in my mind, it makes perfect sense because all the dollars are blowing up. right? You cannot have fiat-based currency with nothing backing it. Just keep going on and on and on. And we've given you the Romans and the Spanish and the Amsterdams and the French and the British. We've given you the powers that have all went out. And I'm sure they all thought the same thing. Well, we're the French. We'll be fine. Napoleon takes them to war and they need dollars and they go out. Roman Empire, how did they lose? So I think it's been a long time with this fiat money that everybody wanted to get out of it, but really couldn't. And the U.S. threatened war with it. But now the U.S. cannot threaten Russia and China with war, and India and Saudi Arabia. You can't threaten everybody with the war. So now you can see the Middle East is all ganging up on Israel and will gang up on the U.S. And the U.S., what are they going to do? Threaten war? They don't even have an army anymore. They just got killed they couldn't even put an army in Ukraine to fight Russia. So basically, I don't see how they can hold COMEX down. And COMEX, if they could, it wouldn't be 2,100 now for gold. It would be much, much lower. Okay, if they're going to hold it down, then why isn't it $300 an ounce? Why is silver 25 an ounce? On silver, they're holding down good. But gold, why would it be so high? It would be $50 an ounce if they could really hold it down, which they can't. Why are all the central banks buying it? Do we believe the central banks are buying gold? Well, I'm not there seeing it, but between Mark McGuire and Alligator and Egon, they are. So I got to take their word that they are. So from that standpoint, yes, I believe absolutely they are. And that's the whole point of it is if they are, why are they buying gold? Because their currencies are in the toilet. And the US dollar is in the toilet. And once the people outside, the $130 trillion starts selling off of that, then you'll see everything. But they're controlling the stock market by printing stocks and buying them. That's what's happening in the stock market. It's not, or it's just stupid people that don't know what they're doing buying Amazon and the top 4 or 5 stocks. Tesla's getting wiped out. Why? Tesla's electric cars are getting wiped out. Wait a minute. Ford and GM are going under. Wait a minute. So I don't buy this plan by the elites. I don't think you can plan this. It certainly is not going to work. People want their freedom and individual in America, and you're not going to take that away from us. So I don't see it working. CBDCs will never work. The money has to be backed by gold. It'll never work. So it goes to zero. Anyway, that's what we see. Okay. So that's all what's happening. And I can't believe Mark McGuire's answer or Alligator's answer to why is the gold price. He never answers the question. Interest rates and the sea of a moose and this and that and that and this. And people just aren't aware of it. Well, the central banks are buying tons of gold. They buy 100 tons. They don't buy 5 ounces like me and you. So anyway, so that gets me to the gold store. So here's what I did yesterday. So I bought this yesterday. It's a 1/4 ounce American, $550. That's what it looks like. You can see it says 1/4 ounce on the bottom. This is what he had in his store. That's where he had the quarter ounce. That's what I took. So he's only got 3 ounces left of American. I don't know what this is. And then he's got the 1/10 of an ounces. And then he's got the little quarter ounce things. And I don't know what this is. So I don't buy that. So that's his gold. He's got 3 ounces left, some small bars, and then these 1/10 of an ounces. So here's how I do the math. Do I buy now? I think it was 234. Let's call it 230 for the 1/10 of an ounce. So I could buy 2 of those for 470, which would be 0.2 ounces of gold, or the quarter ounce was 550. So I'm doing the math in my head. Well, wait a minute. If I buy 2 of the 1/10 ounces, I'm only getting 0.20 ounces of gold versus 0.25. So half of a 1/10 is the other half is the 0.25. So when I did the math, it was like, let's say it's 230. So it'd be 165. So 230 and 230 is 460, and then 135 puts me at like 580, let's say. So I'm paying 580, buying the 1/10 of an ounce for the quarter ounce, or 550. So I bought the quarter ounce for 550. Because I'm saying, well, wait, I'm only getting 0.20 of an ounce versus 0.25. So that's what I did. This was the silver he had, and you can see I don't like this one here. I don't know what the fuck it is. He did have some, Liberty had some decent ones, but this is all, he used to have all these buffaloes. So this is what I've been buying are these buffaloes. But that one looked a little bit stained. Yeah, see how it's stained? I don't want stained. And then the rest are these, okay. And again, you're just buying the 1/10 of an ounce. I don't like these here. What are these? These are CRs. These CRs, I don't like that's the back of the coin. I'm like, I don't want that. This one's okay, but it looks stained also. And this, so he really, the one up top, okay. But again, I don't like the design. So I'm like, I don't like the design. I'm not going to buy it. I got enough silver. So anyway, so that was what he had at the store. So again, I get the quarter ounce, 550, which I loved it. Again, I walk out very happy with it. And so here's the story. So I'm in there and we're talking. The owner likes talking to me. And he said somebody comes in and doesn't understand the premium. So she sees the spot, let's say 2025, but it costs her 20, let's say it's a $100 spot, it costs her $21.35. And she gets pissed saying, well, why should I pay spot for why can't I buy it for spot? Why should I pay a premium on it? And you're basically going, well, good point, but everywhere you go is a premium. So no matter what store, we're all charging this $100 premium. That's our markup. That's how we make money. So we're going to charge. We can't buy it at spot and sell it to you at spot, because then we don't make any money. So we're making $100 on the coin by putting the premium in. And again, market forces. If nobody was buying it, they couldn't put it for 100. They might put it for 50, let's say. Or silver. Silver's $22 a spot, and those coins I showed you were $25. They're only getting a $3 markup on silver. So there's less demand on it because people are just not seeing it move. Gold at least moves. So she's all pissy about, why is there this premium? Why can't I buy it for spot? And I said to him, show her eBay. I mean, the prices on eBay are $21.30 and you're cheaper than them. Just say, well, this is what they sell on eBay and this is what all the stores sell it for. That's a normal markup, the premium over spot, which is paper spot, which is not real anyway. So that's the whole point is, they're doing that. So I said to show her eBay, and he said, I didn't even want to talk to her because if she's that stupid, I don't want to have anything to do with her. And I go, well, she doesn't know. Just treat her as a customer. Just say, we all mark it up. Here's eBay. It's a markup. This is what we do. We got to mark, if I get jewelry in and he's selling earrings and it cost him 500, he's not selling them for 500. Or the shirt didn't cost, let's say I paid 25 for it, or this, it's probably $35 out of the case, but they sell it for 50. That's normal business. It's cost plus, right? It's what's my cost? I mark it up 20%. In gold, it's the spot is the cost, but what he pays for it, he's a little deceiving because he doesn't really buy it. People come in and sell it to him. So if I needed to sell an ounce for $2,000, I'd come in, he'd give me 2,000, and then he'd mark it up to 100. So really, and I don't even think he's spot. I think he's buying it at like 0.95 or something. But what the point is that he's paying around spot for it and marking it up. And I keep telling him, man, you're way low. This spot's not a good price. So anyway, that's what's happening. So again, when I say in the title, when will gold go up? It's when we get rid of COMEX. So alligators, Mark McGuire was a little bit more. Alligator was clueless, which I thought alligators told us before. He still doesn't understand prices. It's based on demand. It's not based on the dollar going down. Gold goes up when the dollar goes down, because if that was the point, gold would be 10,000 an ounce. You don't have a physical market. You have this derivative paper market, which is controlling the price, which is our friends saying, well, why would they give up price fixing if this secret society called COMEX, that secret society, wants to keep the prices down? Because Russia wants the prices to go up. If BRICS wants the price to go up, your secret society can't keep the price down. I mean, that's all been blown up between Basel III and everything else. So again, a guy who doesn't know what he's talking about, trying to understand, who doesn't understand, thinks, well, they're trying to keep the price down. Why would it go up if they want to keep the price down? Because they don't have control of it anymore. Like the NFL might want Lamar against Frisco, but can you really stop Mahomes? I mean, well, Mahomes has another idea about about Lamar getting into the Super Bowl. So that's really the point. So COMEX keeps the price down, not the market, not supply and demand. We want we want COMEX to blow up and get a physical price, which according to Mark McGuire is going to happen because of Russia. How accurate is he? It makes sense to me. Being an Austrian economist, that's what, if you have competition and they want the price to go up, the price will go up because look at the competition it's Saudi, it's Russia, it's China, it's India. They all want a higher gold price. They all want to get off the US dollar, and the US is printing their dollar to zero. So the US is blowing themselves up. They're not blowing themselves up. So if the US dollar is worthless, who wants the dollar? So we go to gold. COMEX can do what they want, but when the dollar keeps going down and everybody says, I don't want it, what's COMEX going to do? So the gold price goes up because the dollar goes out, because they're fucking the dollar up with inflation. And they can sit there and lie to everybody. Well, look, the CPI is 3%. Everything's coming down. Let's lower interest rates. Look at the stock market. That's all bullshit fantasy. That's not reality. That's because you're printing money, putting it into the stock market, and you're just pulling a 3% out of the air on inflation. You don't even measure it right. You're measuring prices, but you're not even including all the prices. And it's not even the way to measure inflation. It's how much money you've printed. You printed $20 trillion. That's inflation. That's it. So I was shocked that Alligator just was clueless on that. Really, absolutely fucking shocked. But how he thinks it's not gold going up when it is. If it's an asset and there's demand for it, prices go up. That's the economic law. That's how markets work. Prices go up because of demand. Prices go down when there is no demand. There's plenty of demand for gold, far more than the price dictates, and all the central banks buying it. So I don't know what he's talking about, but if all the central banks are buying it, that'll blow up COMEX also. So the COMEX can't survive because Basel III says you need gold to do your derivatives. And there's not a lot left. The central banks are all buying it, and Russia and China are buying everything. And me and you go to the gold store, and my quarter ounce purchase yesterday, it's just, I might as well buy it. It's only $5.50 for the quarter ounce, which will soon be 10,000. And so they'll raise it to 2.5 or 3,000 is the start. And then, it's like you're on a diet. You need to lose 100 pounds. You lose 5. You're eventually going to lose to 100, but it goes in segments until you get to 0. And that's the thing with gold. The gold price will eventually get so high, it won't be priced in dollars because the dollar's going out. So people don't even understand that the dollar is worthless. This is the first problem that everybody has. I got my money in the bank. I got my money in oil stocks. I got my money in Microsoft. I'm fine. Or that one guy at the grocery store said he's got his money in, what was it? Something with an A, Amazon. Oh, my money's in Amazon. And I look and it's down 10 points. And I'm like, oh, okay. So people think their money in the bank because what do they tell them? All the Ponzi scheme of keeping your money in the bank or in Wall Street because it's money, that's the Ponzi scheme, which nobody understands. They're being Ponzi scheme, right? We'll print fake money. This is all bullshit. And then you're going to take it and put it in the bank and pay us. You're going to put it in stocks and pay commissions. And then when you do make money on it, we're going to tax you. It's all the system and it's all bullshit. And you need to get out of the system. So your money's worthless and gold is not pegged to the dollar. I don't give a fuck. When the dollar goes down, gold goes up, everything goes up because it takes more money to buy it. But that doesn't mean gold doesn't have its own value and doesn't go up. And I don't understand why Alligator does not understand the concept of an asset where the demand makes the price go up and down. Right now, everybody's buying it. The price. What do you mean gold doesn't have a price? It's an asset. Of course it has a price. Yeah, it's an ounce of gold, but it has a price. It has a value. People will pay $2,000 for it. That's the value of it. But because it's a fake price, the value isn't correct. If you get rid of the COMEX, keeping the price at $2,000, $2,100, the price will go to $5,000 and $10,000 once you get COMEX out of the way. And then my friend's sitting there going, well, why would the secret society want the price to go up if they want the price to go down? It's called BRICS. Hello. So pretty much we can answer all the questions. Why the gold price hasn't gone up yet is BRICS. It's COMEX keeping the price down because you don't have supply demand into the equation. So in other words, like I said, I'll just use that. If this goes up in value because there's only 50, Mahomes wins the Super Bowl, the demand of the market will demand a higher price because there's only 50, they'll want it to go up. So how does this have a value? This is just cardboard. How does this have a value? Well, because it's Mahomes and it's limited. So you're telling me gold doesn't have a value? What the fuck are you talking about? All assets have value. It's based on the market and it's based on demand. No demand, then it doesn't have a value. If you have high demand, it's got a high value. Why are Rolexes getting $45,000? They're just a watch. So how come a watch has a value but gold coins don't? Alligator, well, what the fuck is wrong with you? So I'm really, really disappointed in Alligator's answer. It's incredible. And then he's trying to sell his little thing. Well, I'm going to put a subscription out there to sell why you should buy gold. Well, fuck, you can't even explain it. Why would anybody buy a subscription to Alligator? Jesus Christ, the guy doesn't know what's going on. Anyway, so I wanted to explain that in case you watched that video, or just that's why I put it in the title. Gold price is going up. The value of the dollar is out. It's zero. And yes, it does have a 100 or a 20, and you can get goods and services with it, but it really doesn't have a value. It's only because the store must take it. So when you go buy steak, the store must take your debit card or credit card. And notice how it doesn't take digital. It doesn't take Bitcoin. And they won't take CBDCs either. So that's what happens. So that's what we have going on. And that's why I wanted to rectify that. So why the price of gold doesn't go up, it's COMEX. It has gone up. It's 2050. But it's all a game of derivatives, and then people buy it and sell it. And it's all, but then there's less people dropping it because they need the gold with it, and all the gold's getting eaten up. So it's going up. And it's because of BRICS demanding it, wanting a higher gold price, wanting gold. The more demand for gold by BRICS to make currency, by oil companies, Saudi Arabia and Russia to get gold for oil, there's more demand that pushes the price up. It's very basic. How Alligator doesn't get that, I lost all confidence. I don't know what he is. He's certainly not an economist. He sounds like a Keynesian with his supply and the blockages and all this shit he's talking about. Supply chain stoppages. That's not inflation. That's just higher prices because it costs more. So if this is $50 and now you can't get the labels, so the labels are stop on a ship, and then takes longer to get them, so it's more expensive. Then you sell it for more. It's not inflation. It's the label costs went up. If you can get higher prices for it, you might only be able to get 50, and if the label are stopped and on a boat, then figure out a different way to get them. That'd be my thing. All right, let's go to football. Let's look at that. So our lines, Baltimore still 4.5, 45.5. And the Niners, 7.5, 52.5. And it went up the other day. So I think this is Deebo Samuel. I see the over is now 52.5, up from 51.5. People obviously listening to the professor. And any update on the injuries? Again, Deebo Samuel is probable. And Pacheco's now probable. Well, they've been probable on covers. So these are football players. They don't mind the pain in getting hit. And so they will play. They're not going to miss a big game because an ankle injury, unless it's broken. And even then, we saw what the receiver played in the Super Bowl with a broken ankle. So if it's a big enough game, they tape it up, they shoot it up, they're going to play. He's got it taped. I didn't see him that hurt. Like, he scored that last touchdown in the fourth quarter for KC. I'm sure he's playing. So, and they got Chocolate Eclair in case, but Tony's out, which is a good thing. And we will see. A guard's probable. I don't know. They should be fine. And then we've got Detroit. I love the Hooker's questionable with teeth. What the fuck? Laporta is probable. Is the only guy I know on the team. Ragnow's the center. I guess he's good. Is probable. And Baltimore, I don't think they had any big injuries. Linebacker's doubtful. Wide receiver I've never heard of is questionable. 2 cornerbacks and a DB. Now they're all on IR, and a linebacker. That's a problem. So again, you got to go with Mahomes as a dog. So my score is KC 24-20. I think it'll be lower. I think it'll be right in there because of the defenses. And then Frisco 37, Detroit 24. Frisco's just too much for him, especially if Deebo Samuel's playing. Who are you gonna take out? McCaffrey, Deebo, Kittle, Ayuk. So you got big problems with a bad defense. They got a 27 defense. They're terrible. Who are you gonna? I mean, they're giving up 20. What they gave up to Tampa is 31-23. You gave up 23 to Tampa, who doesn't have a running attack, and they made Mike Evans look like a superstar. So I look for Frisco to just score and score and score, and Detroit gets a little bit. Eventually, the Niners have the lead, start putting the pressure on, getting some pick sixes and or a lot of sacks on Goff, and he'll fall apart. When he gets pressure, he folds, like the Baltimore game, like the Super Bowl with New England. See, nobody wants to talk about it. He plays New England. They lose 13-3 to fucking New England. What kind of quarterback is that? You can't spot anything. What are you doing? So we'll look at the weather picture one more time on RotoWire. So it still shows Pacheco is questionable. Everybody else is fine. Now the rain's down to 37%, and it's 45 degrees and 10 mile an hour. Perfect day for Mahomes. Wind's not too much, and maybe it rains, probably not, or very little. In the Detroit Niner game, everybody's playing 74 and 5 mile an hour winds. The weather won't be a factor. The money line on the Niners is up to 360. So, why play a money line? So let's talk about that. I'd have to lay 360 to win 100 for basically Frisco even. I could play him in a teaser and maybe get a 7 and lay 1 with Kansas City. And it's only going to cost me, 110. So I lay 110 to win 100. Where here I got to lay 360 to win 100. And I'm only a point different, right? I'm even in a 360, but I'm only 1.5. And the odds on them winning by 1 are so slim. I think even this time, if it's close at the end, they kick the extra point, right? They're not going to lose going for 2 if it gets to that, which I doubt it'll get to. So the Niners probably win. I got them by 13. Let's say they win by 10. So you got them even, but you're laying $360 to win 100. But if you just teased them with Kansas City, you lay 110 to win 100. So why lay the extra juice? This is why I hate money lines. I think they're the stupidest thing, but this is what you got to be careful of. The Ponzi schemers who give you the banks and who give you Wall Street give you these prop bets in football, this money line, this live line, all these sucker bets they give you. I look at the game and I go, okay, this is what I think will happen. Take Frisco 37-24. It's a 61, so go over or take Frisco or do both. I don't care what happens in the game. So Detroit takes a 7-0 lead. I'm not going to run and bet I've already bet the Niners. I'm not going to run and bet them because the Lions scored and I know the Niners will win. I've already made the bet, and I made a big bet. So why do I need this in-game shit or this? Why do I need money line? They win by 14, and I bet $1 million to win 100. I mean, it's insane. This way I can bet 110 to win 100. I can do 3 or 4 team. I can bet the Frisco and the over in Kansas City and a 3-team teaser, get odds. So I bet 100 to win 150. I mean, that and the odds of me winning it are like 30 times more than laying the 7 and or money lining. It's going to cost me so much that I win the 100, but it's costing me 360. And all you need to do is lose a couple of those, and you're really fucked. But if you just do teasers and you're laying 1.5 or 1, are you really you really think they're only going to win by 1, and you're not going to win your teaser, but you're going to win your money line bet? See, that's where the teaser comes in. It knocks it down to 1, and then why do I need money line? Because the odds are that they'll win at least by a field goal. Now we think they'll win by a lot more. But that's why I have against the money line, just play the teaser because they'll win by a field goal. You've covered the 1. So it really doesn't make any sense. All right. So it's 1:30. I think I'll get to the pool so I can get back by 3 to watch the game. Have a good day. www.teaserking.com. You get my email there. I know there's one person who said they were going to email me, who I never got an email from. So just go there. And hope everything's well. And good luck today. And again, gold price will go up. It's bricks. And again, you just, you got to ignore idiots, right? Well, why would the gold price go up and it hasn't? Because of bricks. So we have all the answers to it. So don't be, whatever. I mean, you could go down the list and this has never happened or that's never happened. But eventually it happens. And like KC repeating, it's very rare. Yeah, but they could. Or the Niners could get in there and then they could win 2 or 3 in a row. So everything, just because it hasn't happened or hasn't happened in a while, doesn't mean it can't happen. The Packers won 3 Super Bowls in a row, 65, 66, and 67. The 65 didn't have a Super Bowl, but they three-peated, but nobody's done it since. Well, it doesn't mean it can't happen. And it did happen. So keep that in mind that that's what you're looking at. So just because gold was 35 an ounce, is now 2,000. So I'm not quite sure, now it's not at its real price, but it's still up to 2,000 going up. The inflation, the printing of the money has not gone away. It's still there very much. So keep that in mind. The money printing, that's what inflation is. You're inflating the supply, which devalues the dollar. So Alligator's partially right that it's the dollar going down, but it is gold going up based on demand. It's an asset like anything else. And that's where he's wrong. But I'll keep bitching at him. And, I leave him notes. He doesn't respond. So what are you going to do? But anyway, have a good day. Good luck today. 3 o'clock, we got KC Baltimore. Should be a great game. Look for Mahomes to win it because that's what Mahomes does. And then the Niners should have a fairly easy time with Detroit in a high-scoring game. All right, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a nice day and good luck. www.teaserking.com. And yes, gold is going to the roof, as is silver.